Hey guys, it's Hillary from HillaryGlass.com and welcome to my first official vlog. So I really have not been in the mood to write blogs lately, so I decided I would try this new medium, see how I like it. So if you guys enjoy this, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. So the topic du jour is inspired by a Facebook status that popped up on my newsfeed. You know those memories that you get that Facebook will, show you? I'm really embarrassed to admit this, but I'm going to share it with you anyway because I think there's a really important lesson here. So the status that popped up on my newsfeed today was from 8 years ago. So for those of you who don't know, I work part-time for an affordable housing organization, and one of my responsibilities is to go out to buildings and work directly with the residents. So I do a lot of, one-on-one, face-to-face interaction with folks. So apparently 8 years ago, when I went to a building, one of the building residents took it upon him or herself to comment on my body and say it looked like I had gained weight. Ugh. And 8 years ago, I definitely was not in the place where I'm at today in terms of my self-worth, separating my self-worth from my body. I definitely kind of led with how I looked. I felt like that was my kind of, that was all that mattered, that was kind of what I had to lead with because I wasn't comfortable with anything else about myself. So I was 100% absorbed in making sure my nutrition was meticulous, making sure that my workouts were brutal, and that, I was working out all the time, trying to manage my weight. And all I really cared about was the number on the scale and the size of my clothes. That's all that mattered, right? So obviously when this person commented on my weight, completely unsolicited, by the way, I felt extremely just completely distraught. It destroyed me. And so my status update was commenting about this person asking me if I'd gained weight and saying, pre-Christmas fast has commenced. So because of this person's unsolicited opinion, and because my self-esteem was so low at this time, and I was so focused on my body and how I looked and how much I weighed, I felt that the logical response to that was to deprive myself, was to hurt myself because of someone else's unsolicited opinion, which I realize now had nothing to do with me. So I decided that I was going to fast around this time of year. And as we know, this is a time of year when we are exposed to a lot of temptation. And I think a lot of us have the tendency to want to really kind of white knuckle our way through it. We take this all or nothing, black or white approach to the holidays, and we end up shooting ourselves in the foot. It really backfires. And I know that this backfired because I know myself from 8 years ago. I was not the enlightened person I am today, and I really struggled a lot. And I didn't have the tools that I have now, because I was so, obsessed with the fact that all I really had to offer was how I looked. And so if someone thought that I'd gained weight, then that was kind of like the worst possible thing that could happen in my world. And so I immediately wanted to take control of the situation. And for me, taking control of that situation meant fasting. Starting some kind of crazy restrictive diet, which I don't even remember what it was now, but I'm sure it didn't last because these things don't last, okay? So I want to share with you 3 tips that came up for me and that I think if you're feeling this way, if you struggle with this like I did, that will really help you. So number 1 is to remember not to fall into the trap of thinking that because your willpower is strong in this particular moment, that it will always be strong. So in the moment that someone commented on my weight, told me it looked like I gained, I could have resisted anything, any food, any temptation put in front of me. I would have had the willpower to resist it, right? in that moment, I had all the power in the world, and I had no forethought of the fact that a day, a week, a month from then, I wouldn't feel as similarly, that, you know, the emotion that I was feeling in that moment would dissipate. And if I didn't have any tools and I was only relying on willpower, that I wouldn't be able to withstand it. I wasn't thinking of that. I didn't have those tools. I didn't have the strategies that I have now. Now I know better. Now I know that willpower is not something that is consistently high, that is consistent, that doesn't ebb and flow, because it absolutely does. It goes like this. Willpower is not consistent across the board. All the decisions we make throughout the day affect our willpower. And if we're not kind of doing things to preserve it, to conserve it, then we end up in a situation where we have none left. And that's why it's so hard to avoid overeating at night, right? Why some of us get those nighttime munchies, and it's very hard to control those cravings. So I didn't realize at that time that the willpower I was feeling could not be sustained. It's just unrealistic. Willpower is not something that we can rely on. We need tools, we need strategies. So that's number one. Do not fall into that trap of thinking the way I feel right now is the way I'm always going to feel. Because if we do and we rely solely on willpower, we are going to be sorely disappointed. Number two, remember the story of the tortoise and the hare, right? Slow and steady wins the race. Consistency over perfection, but only 100% of the time. Consistency with your workouts. Consistency with your nutrition. Living in the gray, that's absolutely going to be what gets you to where you want to be. These restrictive diets, this pre-Christmas fasting, this white knuckling your way through the holidays, or whatever the case may be, taking an all or nothing approach, thinking it's black or white, it doesn't serve you. It's not going to get you the results that you want. So remember, slow and steady wins the race. Yeah, it's boring. Yeah, it's not sexy. Yeah, these 21-day cleanses and losing, 20, 25 pounds in a month, that is appealing. Seeing immediate results is super appealing. But I always say the faster it comes off, the faster it comes on. So you got to be really conscious of taking it slow, taking your time, being deliberate, and not reactionary like I was when someone commented on my weight. So that's number two. And your final tip is other people's opinions of your body don't matter. All that matters is how you feel about you. And once you are okay with how you are now, once you embrace your body, once you embrace where you're at in this moment and you're happy with how you are, that is where you can that's the point at which you can finally start to make lasting changes. You cannot negatively self-talk or berate yourself into a positive and healthy self-image, a positive, healthy body image. You just can't do it. And the reason I struggled for so long was because I thought that talking about myself negatively, restricting myself, punishing myself with exercise, that was what was going to make me change. It wasn't until I embraced myself and said, I'm happy with where I'm at now. If I never lose another pound, I will still be happy because I have so much more to offer than just the way my body looks. That was when I could finally make changes that lasted. It's where I could finally sustain a weight loss. Where I could finally focus on something other than how my body looks and instead focus on how I feel in my body. And subsequently, when I adopted that really kind of positive self-image, it's when I realized that those comments that someone else makes about my body, how someone else perceives my body, how someone else thinks my body should look, just doesn't matter. All that matters is what I think, because I know that when I'm happy with me, that's when I can make a change, or I cannot make a change. That is the key. All right. So those are your 3 tips. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I had a blast recording it. Let me know in the comments what you think, and let me know if you want to see another one. All right. Bye, guys.